Hi, welcome to this week's segment of Sports Corner. I'm your host, Eric Hightower, here with my sports analyst.
I'm Charles C.J. Wilson.
How's it going, America? I'm Curtis Killings.
We're going to start this week off in the NFL department, National Football League.
Right.
We've had some cornerback controversy.
Some Twitter beef,
Cornerback Darrelle Revis and Richard Sherman, two of the top cornerbacks in the league, have been going at it. Darrelle Revis tweeted, "That's like saying you're better than Deion Sanders and he's not even playing anymore. Does that make him irrelevant?" And he also tweeted, "I've never seen a man run his mouth so much like a girl. This dude just steady putting my name in his mouth to get attention."
Couple shots fired on and off the field, I see.
Yeah, those are some shots.
And also Richard Sherman had a tweet out to Revis as well.
Richard Sherman's was a bit. Yeah, his tweet went, "Remember that time the number of Twitter followers mattered more than the production on the field? Me either." I think that tweet was directly at Darrelle Revis. He mentioned him on Twitter, which means it came directly to him. How do you guys feel about the Twitter beef and the cornerback controversy going on?
Well, Richard Sherman really has a mouthful to say. He's been talking since he came into the NFL. He had a great season this year. 8 interceptions, was All-Pro selection, first Pro Bowler. Probably has the best secondary in the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks. But to be considered the best cornerback in the NFL, you have to put in more than 1 year, young man. Let's go to the numbers. A little sports analyst for you guys. The Seattle Seahawks have two great corners in Browning and Richard Sherman. Browning is the right corner. He plays only the right side of the field. Richard Sherman, he plays the left side of the field. So to be regarded as the best cornerback in the league, you have to, on every snap, check the best receiver on the field, whether that's Larry Fitzgerald, Andre Johnson, Wes Welker. They line up on the right side, the left side, in the slot. You have to follow them. Right. You have to follow them on each side of the field. Richard Sherman plays on the left side. Browning plays on the right side. So whoever comes out of the huddle on that side, that's who they check. When it's Darrelle Revis, for instance, when they play New England Patriots 2 times a year, he's following Wes Welker wherever he goes. Well, Wes Welker lines up on the outside. He lines up in the slot, which is the nickel position, and which is regarded as the toughest position in the NFL to play next to the quarterback. He follows Andre Johnson on the outside. He follows Larry Fitzgerald on the outside. When they break the huddle, he's in the middle of the field waiting for that receiver to come out to the left or the right to follow them around. To be considered the best cornerback in the league, like Deion Sanders was, you got to follow that best receiver down in and down out, everywhere he goes. Whether it's a run play or pass play, you play him like it's a pass play.
All right, and nothing much said, CJ. I must agree with you as much. Richard Sherman, you do bring the good intensity to the game like that, and then, like I said with my man CJ, how he broke it down. But one season doesn't prove everything, and Darrelle Revis, he obviously was out for the remainder of the season due to a torn ACL. But one season, my man, doesn't show it all. You are a great receiver. You had a phenomenal season, but I feel that you have to have put a few more work in.
It's kind of like with me with this cornerback controversy. It's like Darrelle Revis is a developed cornerback in the game. He has longevity. He has a fan base.
Right.
He has his own shoe named after him. That's the only cornerback in the history to have his own shoe, and it's not even a cleat. It's an off the field shoe.
Right.
So that gives him, that boost, that image. I think with Richard Sherman, you know how they say if you take down the captain of the ship, then what ship do you have left? So Richard Sherman, he's not gonna, target average receivers. He's gonna go at the best. And me personally, I kind of like the attention and all the controversy that it's bringing out between these two guys.
And trust me, Richard Sherman likes it too. That's how he's getting all this publicity, all this notoriety. That's why he's getting all his fans. So I'm calling out the best players. He called out Tom Brady on the game they played this past season. His quote went viral, "You mad, bro," which he said to Tom Brady after the win they had against the Patriots. He called out Trent Williams, the offensive tackle, for God's sakes. He's the biggest guy on the field. He called him out after the victory of the Redskins. This guy's a big talker. Ronnie White, he sold out Ronnie White the whole week before they played in the AFC Championship game. What happened there? Ronnie White took him for an 80-yard touchdown. So I mean, the talk is cheap. It's premeditated. When you become the best receiver in the league, the best corner in the league, once you hold the best receiver on each team under 50 yards for a whole season like Revis did, then you're the man.
Yep. Well, we're gonna take our show to another area of sports. We're gonna talk about the NBA. And Miami Heat are actually on an 11-game win streak. They're hot right now. Them boys are young, running and gunning. LeBron James is getting Chris Bosh involved and Dwayne Wade and the rest of the team, and it's all coming together like a unit, like it has been, since coming off of a championship from last season.
And I must say, at a season of 38 and 14, man, those guys are playing phenomenal, man. The level of intensity that those guys are playing, is just extravagant. And and the direction they're going, I feel like, that they are probably going to be in the NBA Finals for the Eastern Conference again.
Is that what you think? Do you think they headed to the ship, CJ?
No, I believe they're going to go, but I'm not sold on them winning the championship. But the Miami Heat are playing probably the best basketball since the guys been together.
Yeah.
11-game win streak, which is the second biggest win streak they had since they became the Miami Heat, the big three: Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. But LeBron has been playing at a phenomenal level, MVP status. But a guy that's been going unnoticed that people say is too old is Dwayne Wade. Doing this 11-game win streak, he's leading Miami Heat in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and minutes. He's playing at the old Wade status, which they called him Flash back in 2007 when he won a championship with Shaq. He's playing at that level again, which is scary for the rest of the NBA.
Yes.
And also, to say that they're going to win the NBA championship, I think the Miami Heat Achilles heel is playing against a dominant big man, which they struggle with. Chris Bosh is an amazing player. He's more of a perimeter-oriented big guy, which in the NBA, to win the playoffs, we have to have a dominant post player.
And that big man is that one piece of the puzzle that they might need to complete. Like you say, Chris Bosh, he's 6'11", he takes a lot of coverage down there in the paint, but you also need that dominant, forceful big man down there. Somebody like a Cousins, or he's a good big man that could complete the puzzle for the Miami Heat. But we're just gonna see how this postseason continues out with them.
And in the East, you have the New York Knicks, who have a dominant big man, and Tyson Chandler, who's an anchor on defense, a 7-footer. Amari Stoudemire, we know he brings to the table athleticism, explosiveness. He dunks on just about anybody. Then you have the Indiana Pacers, who have Roy Hibbert, probably the third best center in the NBA. Well, since Andrew Bynum's been out this whole season, maybe the second best center in the NBA. He's playing at a dominant level. He's another 7-footer, big body. And then you have the Chicago Bulls. You have Joakim Noah, who's a 7-footer, arguably the best passing big man in the league. He runs the floor real well, big body, aggressive on defense. Those guys it's going to be tough to beat. But if Miami Heat keep playing the way they are with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, I see them going back to the championship. Winning it, that's another story.
All right, guys, so we have the Heat on an 11-game streak right now. Hypothetically speaking, tonight, if the Heat had their 12th game, who do you think that NBA team would be that could stop that streak, if you had to name one team?
If I had to name one NBA team, it would probably be the San Antonio Spurs, who have the best record in the NBA. Every year they go unnoticed. They have the best record in the NBA just about every year. But when you have Tim Duncan, you have Tony Parker, the model of consistency, Manu Ginobili, Steven Jackson, and arguably the top 2 coach in the league, Greg Popovich. The other is Doc Rivers of the Boston Celtics. Those guys know how to win. They win games consistently every year.
However, though, we do know that Miami is the best team in transition, and I don't think those older guys have the ability to run the floor with those
guys. See, that's the thing. When you have a coach like Greg Pop, the only thing that can stop that transition, if you limit your turnovers and you play your half-court offense. With the San Antonio Spurs, they don't turn the ball over. They have half-court offense. If you make the game into a track meet with the Miami Heat, you're going to lose every time. That's the way you beat the Miami Heat. Slow the game down. Bring it in, don't make it a transition game. Don't turn the ball over, and you'll be good.
Well, it is hard to stop a guy who's scoring 60% from the field goal, 11 to 13. So,
like I said, LeBron James is on an amazing tear, but can he keep it up in the playoffs? It's seen to be remained. And also the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, the Heat beat them twice this year, but in the playoffs, I'm not sure. Their biggest challenge is stopping Russell Westbrook. I'm not sure who on the Miami Heat team could check him. Mario Chalmers, the point guard that would be checking him, it's going to be a tough matchup for him.
You got your great Battier, down there on the defensive level,
And that's the thing. Shane Battier plays the 4. If the Miami Heat and Oklahoma City Thunder met into the finals, they have to have Perkins in the post and Ibaka in the post.
But the speed of Miami, though, is on another level. That's where Miami beats you at, the speed of the defense transition.
You're right. That's the thing. But if you limit that transition game into a half-court offense, low post, get your big man involved, beat up on Battier, beat up on Bosh, you have a chance. And also, you guys are going to kill me for this, but Los Angeles Lakers, winners of 3 straight games, those guys may have a chance now.
Man, you got one thing about Los Angeles Lakers, like I said, you can't factor them out just because they might be having a terrible season. They might not have any chemistry right now, but one thing about the postseason, it's all about experience.
But at the end of the day, chemistry is what matters. If you don't have that chemistry and that bond between your brothers and that team, then to go out and do what it do to win, you have nothing.
That's right. That's what took the Miami Heat so long to win their championship was chemistry. They admitted that it took them a while to gel together. And the biggest problem for the Lakers has been injuries and the continuity on the court of not playing with each other. It's really starting to show. But like Kobe Bryant said, it's that time of the year. He had 40 points on Friday night. He had 37 points last night to win over the Mavericks. He says it's time of the year to crank it up again and go for the playoff push.
Well, guys, this definitely has been an interesting, NBA season, and I'm ready like y'all out for the outcome.
We're going to see what happens in the postseason,
see what goes on, but we're going to take the attention back to the NFL. It's the 2013 Combine, where, college players might get that chance to fulfill their dreams that they've been having since they were children. Most of us are football players or have been in the past, and we know that's the ultimate goal, is making it to the top, to the pros. But 2013 Combine, we got a lot of young guys out there, a lot of, young faces and everything going on. But what y'all think about this year's Combine? Like, what athletes or y'all think are stepping up or emerging into that spotlight?
We have Marquise Goodman, the Texas, who ran the blazing 40.427, the second fastest time and only the record of Chris Johnson. So, I mean, these guys, this has been the fastest Combine I've seen in a long time. The top 5 receivers all ran on the 4.35. If you run a 4.4 flat, you were slow in this Combine, which is astounding.
One thing about these athletes, I think, people are evolving, evolution. I believe in all that weird theory stuff, but I think that it's just like every old record is being broken now, you know what I'm saying? And these young guys are coming out there. What differs now than, the past athletes, we have supplements and better workout plans, and these guys have meal plans at their universities, and I think it's just preparing them. A lot of college players probably are NFL ready right now, but I think what this Combine does is it kind of, molds them and defines, like, okay, what exactly can you do on that field? And what can you show me right here that you can do on that field? But one thing I particularly don't kind of agree with the Combine is that you can have a player who's awesome on the field, who's aware, who's ready, who's strong enough, who's fast enough, who's mentally just there. But if he has, if he doesn't perform well at the Combine,
Right, it's terrible.
they try to make him that terrible player. But one thing you can't forget is, what's already been done on that field.
On-field production, that's right. You can have a guy that wins the Heisman, per se, but he goes to the Combine, he's a receiver, say he's expected to run the 4.3, 4.4 range. He has a bad day, runs in the 4.5, 4.6 range. His draft stock falls tremendously, which is insane. A lot of people put too much stock into the stopwatch, which is insane. I believe that first and foremost, your on-field production should come first. When you have guys that come in hot off the Combine and they get drafted off of that, you guys have a guy like Darius Hayward-Bay, the receiver out of Maryland that ran a 4.3 flat, drafted by the Oakland Raiders, has been a bust in the NFL. You have a guy like DeMarcus Van Dyke, the cornerback from the University of Miami. He ran a 4.28, 6'2", 4.28, got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's ridiculous. He hasn't lived up to the hype. I mean, then you have guys that come into the Combine that run 4.5 or 4.6, like Jerry Rice. He was a 4.6 guy at the Combine.
Chris Carter,
4.6 guy. You talking about Hall of Fame receivers. Now, it's about what you do on the field, more so than off the field. But then you have a guy coming for, say, a small-time school like Bethune-Cookman University that don't have the exposure, don't have the film that all these other guys at Texas or the University of Florida, State of Florida have, and he goes and he rips the Combine up. I mean, rips it up, a la Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie out of Tennessee State. He had a great Senior Bowl, a great Combine record, a great Combine showing, and his draft stock rose tremendously, which is great for us small-time kids who get to show that they can do it on a big-time level and compete against the guys from USC, University of Notre Dame, University of Florida, which is also big.
To comment on what CJ said, I feel like that for smaller colleges and universities, athletes who are trying to, get that exposure, it's hard because, we're not on the ESPNs every day and
Exactly.
the ESPN2s and NFL networks. And
Exactly.
them guys aren't being seen, but what I think the Combine does for them is it gives them that chance to get some exposure.
Right.
It gives them the time to, step up and say, hey, I didn't go to that big D1 university, but I'm still that talented player. I can still compete with the best guys out there.
you know what the best thing is?
What's that?
My
Guy?
man right here, ready for his pro day.
Right,
Oh,
CJ
yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah, got pro day coming. I got a big chip on my shoulder. Like many small-time schools, once you get to the big stage, you have pro day and you have the Senior Bowl, and you get invited to the Combine, which is a great blessing. You have a big chip on your shoulder to say, hey, I'm better than this guy, I'm better than that guy. From the guy from the University of Kansas State, University of Georgia, South Carolina, whatever. I should have been there. I can do what you do. And you have a lot of guys that are Hall of Famers that come from small-time schools, a la Jerry Rice, a la Walter Payton, arguably the best running back of all time. Come from a small-time school, the best running back of all time, the best receiver of all time, Jerry Rice, a small-time school. So Terrell Lawrence, another Hall of Famer, a small-time school. Do you have guys like Nick Collins, Green Bay Packers, who could have been a Hall of Famer without the neck injury, Rasheem Mathis, Air Weems. You have guys that come in and show they can play on a big-time level, and they can be better than the guys from University of Oklahoma, University of Texas, and so much as so forth.
All right, guys, well, we're going to bring it over to a sport that's only talked about seasonally because it's not always in, and when it is in, it's only, one particular race or one particular weekend. But the Daytona Beach 500 was this past weekend. We have winner Jimmy Johnson. You know, Dale Jr. came in second. That's not a sport I'm too, familiar with as far as being a fan of, but I like to see them guys, out there showing that they're passionate about them cars and the speed that they're going and the velocity and whatever they're trying to create as a career for themselves.
Well, first and foremost, our thoughts and prayers do go out to the 33 who was injured in Saturday's race, and Sports Corners, our prayers do go out to you guys' family.
And with the Daytona 500, it has a big following. You see the crowd that came here to Daytona, it's crazy. And you got to give a shout out to Danica Patrick, the first woman to finish in the top 10 of a big NASCAR race. She finished 8th. Beautiful lady, just beautiful.
Yeah.
Danica Patrick.
It's finally, good to see her finally have a major accomplishment. She came from the Indies like that. She's killed them on the track over there, but just it's real tough. Yeah, to come over as a female into NASCAR and come over to the big guys world is real tough. And Danica, we're proud of you. Keep it up, girl.
And also a big shout out to Jimmy Johnson, who's arguably could end up being the best racer of all time, next to the late great Dale Earnhardt, who won his second Daytona 500 and won 4 straight Sprint Indy Cup championships.
One thing I could comment on about that NASCAR is that them fans are loyal, man. They don't care what they're doing during the year, what time of the year it is. There were over, I heard 250,000 out-of-town guests to come to that. The Super Bowl and stuff.
From all over Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, the Charlotte.
That Daytona 500 is like the championship for racers, as well as the Super Bowls for NFL players.
The Great American Race.
The national titles for the basketball players. But one thing about it is, I think what makes racing different is that it's not a team sport. It's individual. And that's one sport where you have to develop. And like we could look on TV all day. We see the cars riding around the track. As a kid, as a youth, this is the boring sport. I'm not finna ever watch sports cars or nothing
One
like
thing
that,
about it, being in Daytona, you see how much of a following that it has. And also shout out to Darrelle Earnhardt Jr., who came in second. I know he wanted to win this race real bad, being that his father died on this racetrack. He never won a race, but the place in second for the Daytona 500 puts me in a big position to go forward with the Sprint Cup race, which you want to win the title from Jimmy Johnson, who obviously won the Daytona 500.
I'm pulling for you next year, Jeff, the 24 car.
And also, to bring back up the crash, man, that's a real sad situation and whatnot. What can they do to better the safety for the fans?
What I think for the fans is I've been on that track actually. Exactly. I noticed that they have barriers and stuff, so that the track actually sits down a little deeper than people might think. It kind of sinks into the ground, and what they have is like a big gate developed to where, if anything happens, a fan shouldn't be hurt. But from my understanding, the fan actually was hurt this weekend.
I think that you need to put another gate up, because I've been out there, and when I say those cars are coming, those cars are moving at 200 plus miles per hour. And it's very dangerous on that track. And, the injuries and,
Right, them guys are putting their life at risk every time they hop inside that car. But one thing about NASCAR, I feel like, with sports like football, when concussions are at a high rate and guys were getting hurt, it's equipment that you can create to, kind of keep that at a minimum. But with NASCAR, when you're moving at 200 miles an hour, it's kind of hard to create anything that could, stop or aid you in the event of an accident or a crash. But I think for the fans, you just gotta be cautious, and NASCAR has to create something. You want to
protect your drivers, you have to protect it.
Right. You
protect the watchers as well.
Maybe they should maybe thicker metal, maybe more stronger metal for the railing or whatnot. Something has to be done, because crashes like this can happen on any NASCAR event. Something must be done.
All right, so today, we've covered Darrelle Revis, we've covered the Heat, we've covered the Combine, NFL.
I want to go back to the NFL Combine real quick and go back to Manti Te'o. What do you guys think about Manti Te'o and his situation? Because I believe that the public are making this way bigger than what it is about his girlfriend and how he's dropping his draft stock. It's crazy.
My focus right now, I'm just ready to see what he's going to do on the field. All that off the field talk, I don't really engage in that stuff. He had a great season, do up to the BCS championship,
Second running up for the Heisman.
Right. Exactly. But, I'm ready to see what he's going to do out there on that combine. Manti, he's got a lot of heart in it, and I feel like that guy, he's going to do something at the next level.
Right. One thing I think that the media has to understand is that these athletes are, on a pedestal. They have a
life as well.
But they're still humans just like the rest of us. They get dressed one pants leg at a time just like the rest of us. So with his situation, it is bad controversy. It's a bad media look for them, but I don't think that should have anything to do with him as a player because when he strapped up in that Notre Dame uniform, he went out there to play. He played hard. He earned it. He proved himself as a great linebacker, wearing number 5. But I don't think that should decrease his draft stock because he has things going on in his personal life.
How about his last performance on the BCS National Championship?
That's one game. It was a big performance on the national stage. He knew all the scouts were watching against NFL-ready offensive line in Alabama, which has the best offensive line in the country by far. But that one game doesn't derail his 4-year career at Notre Dame. He's a 4-year starter. Started as a freshman. I mean, he has the tackling record at Notre Dame, which is probably the most prestigious.
So where do you put him on your draft pick?
He's a top 15 pick. He's the number 1 line. He's my number 1 linebacker. I mean, to have 7 interceptions as a linebacker, it's unheard of. 7 interceptions is an All-American season for a corner or a safety.
Right.
As a linebacker, that's just unheard of.
So looking at the 32 teams, where do you think he'll fall? Good place as a middle linebacker.
A good place from the fall. I'm not sure if he'll fall this far in the draft, but Ray Lewis is retiring, and the Baltimore Ravens is looking for a replacement for Ray Lewis. They have good veteran leaders in the locker room, and Joe Flacco, Ray Rice, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, that can take him under his wing and teach him about the NFL and kind of put that whole host thing behind him, the whole fake girlfriend thing behind him.
I think when Manny Te'o straps up in that NFL uniform, whatever it is, and he goes out there and lays that first hit, people are going to be like, catfish was. The heck
One
with a
thing about
catfish.
it, the on-field production outweighs anything to me.
Yep. Well, guys, we have a special segment of this week's show. We have the top 5 dunks of our era, all of us being around the same age.
Yep.
You have to account for the greats who did it, like Clyde Drexler and Jordan back in the day. But
Sean
Dominique Wilkins.
Back when. But I think that we're going to start off with the number 1 dunk.
If we would have showed those dunks of all time, it took up the whole show. So we're just going to do the top 5 of our era.
Here we go.
Starting with number 5.
Start with number 5. We have
Dwayne Wade. Throw it down, big fella.
Run it back. Go back.
On Anderson Varus, y'all. I mean, just look at this. This is Wade County.
Go back.
Just look at this.
Drive inside. Watch Virgil legs.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Now look at that. If it wasn't for the railing, if it wasn't for that protective thing against the goal, ain't no telling where he'd be. He'd probably be so on South
Watch
Beach
LeBron.
right now.
Look at
LeBron face. Dang. Throw it down, young fella. That's the old Dwayne Wade of old.
You think that dunk brought him over there to the Heat?
It brought him over to the Heat. Let's go to number 4 right now. Oh, that's
One more
Dwayne
time.
Wade
One more
again.
time.
Oh,
One more
throw it
time.
down,
we
young
don't mind
fella.
seeing it again.
Oh,
That was a
man.
great dunk.
Watch the step over. Here we go. Here we go.
Step over.
Superman.
We're going on to number 4 real quick. Oh, is that the Mamba? Kobe? Oh, young Dwight.
That's just not fair.
That's just not
ain't-
fair. Oh,
no,
young
not.
man. Throw it down, young fella.
Welcome to the NBA.
Welcome to the
Dwight
NBA,
Howard.
young Dwight. You see how skinny he is? That's the Kobe of old, the Kobe of 8. Wow, that's a
Right,
facial.
people forget that Kobe had that 8 on.
Right.
Back
Ooh,
when he was
facial.
a young player.
You think Mama jumping like that again still?
No, not again. He's 17 years in the league. That's the
Oh
old
no,
Kobe.
now he called your boy Joe Johnson and Gerald Wallace.
Yeah, he did dunk on those guys, but you see it from time to time.
Here we
Let's
go.
ahead and
Here we
roll
go.
to
Number 3. Number 3. Here we got.
Oh, LeBron James.
LeBron James. This
Dunk on Damon Jones.
Watch the facial expression.
Oh!
Just plain nasty.
Just plain disrespect. Oh, Damon Jones. Take that. Oh, one more time. Let's show LeBron one more time. That was just amazing. Throw it down. Watch how Damon Jones, he rises up. Then
The
once
king.
he realizes that, oh, shoot, that's LeBron. Here, watch it. I'm sorry, LeBron. Throw it down, young fella. That's the young LeBron, Cleveland Cavs.
What we got next?
Let's go to number 2.
Say we got Vince on this.
The best dunker of all time.
All
to me.
time.
Oh,
around the back, square up,
Oh, Alonzo Mourning.
facial.
Pay your rent, young fella. Pay your rent.
Vince Carter, Daytona Beach resident.
New Jersey Nets. This is the best dunk of all time to me. I mean,
God.
Vince Carter's the best dunker of all time. Can I see the Alonzo Mourning show one more time, please? One more time.
What year was that back? Who won the dunk contest?
2001, I believe. Vince Carter, best dunker
Killed
of all
it.
time.
Vince
Killed
Carter
it.
definitely is.
360 win.
Oh, just look at that. Alonzo Mourning, a great
go
shot
back,
blocker.
go back. Here we go.
One of the best shot blockers of all time.
Check my footwork.
One thing about being a great shot blocker, you're going to get dunked on from time to time.
Right.
And this right here, this is maybe the best dunk of all time, aside from Jordan to Dominique to Sean Kemp to all those Spud Wells, Vince Carter.
I can't even
Over
look.
the 7-footer.
I can't even look. Straight facial.
Oh, the Olympics.
Man.
This guy from Russia. And he actually got drafted in the first round by the New York Knicks, but after being having a facial serve like that, he decided to stay over there in Russia. I don't blame him either.
Straight hair.
Straight nasty, Vince. Throw it down, young fella. One more time. The guy is standing straight up in the air. I mean, straight up.
He's perfectly prepared. He's perfectly
he's
ready
vertical.
for
I'm gonna
it.
say, oh my God, Vince
I think
Carter.
that's like a 40-inch.
That's a 40-inch vertical right there. On a 6'6" guy is only trouble.
Well, guys, we have a lot more sports coming for these people, and for next week's segment and everything. This week we covered Darrelle, Revis, and Richard Sherman, the Heat win streak, the NFL Combine for the new college players,
See, in the championship.
Matt Hightower, the Daytona Beach 500. Shout out to Jimmy Johnson for the big win, Dale for the big
Speaking of
second.
Jimmy Johns, think they can have something over here come over like 10 minutes?
We'll talk about that
yeah,
afterwards. You know what I'm saying, guys? But,
Danica Patrick, top 10 finish, women's history. We love our women.
This is Sports Corner, and we'll be back next week.
Check
Give
it
you
out.
guys the latest sports information and news.
I'm Charles Wilson.
I'm Curtis Killings.
And I'm your host, Eric Hightower.
Good show.